If you're a product manager, you're probably going to have to get used to being the dumbest person in the world. Whether you're working with designers who, really intricately understand the designs that they're working with, or the business people who, really intimately understand a specific element of the business, or with your engineers who obviously really understand the code, you have to be comfortable with being able to work with all of these different people, even though you might not necessarily be an expert on what they're talking about. Now, while we should, of course, as product managers be trying to build up, deep understandings of technology and data and design, especially when you're just starting out in your career, it's often not possible. Now, luckily, I actually have a little bit of a cheat code for you, specifically when it comes to understanding engineers and what they're talking about when you're in, product planning meetings or technical planning meetings or architecture meetings or whatever it might be. And it's using the brilliant tool, which is ChatGPT. So in this video, we're just going to go through how you as a product manager can get a superficial understanding of a topic so you don't look like a complete idiot. And then the idea is obviously to build on that understanding as you go throughout your career. So let's just take a look at a very quick example. Now, imagine that you're coming into a company and the developers are talking about, TypeScript, Next.js, React, all of these programming terms that you probably won't have heard of. And honestly, I've been working in product now for a couple of years, and it shames me to know sometimes how little I know about engineering and what goes on there. So today I was actually having to hire for a new role, and I couldn't even remember the language that we use. So I asked my developer, and then I got confused in my head about what all these different terms meant. So let's just take a look at AI as to how I got around it. So basically, I just asked it, what is the difference between TypeScript, Next.js, and React Native? And it gives me like a very clear, understanding of what this is. It tells me that TypeScript is a language, that Next.js is a framework, and that React Native is a framework specifically for mobile apps. And then I asked about React itself. So anyone who works in the developer ecosystem or with developers will know that there's something called React Native and something called React. And then it tells me that React is a JavaScript library. Then you could just ask it if you wanted to, well, okay, what is a library? How does all of that work? It's really up to you what you do with this tool. So it gave me a summary about React, and then I was trying to compare React versus Next.js. And again, it tells me, look, React is a library, like trying to tell me stop being an idiot. Next.js is a framework. And then I have some understanding of computers and programming. So I was like, right, okay, is something that you would use when you're writing code with React, like just import React, because when you're developing any libraries, you do at the top of the of the code base, and you just type in import, and then it gives you that. And it came out, it said, yep, that's correct. If you want to use React in your project, you would import that, and that's exactly how that works. And then I asked it to give me a specific example of how Next.js worked, and again, it gave me a output that said how the framework works, how it all kind of ties together, and just a really incredible learning tool. Like, I honestly went through this. I could have spent, a lot of time sifting through Google, but it just gives me the answers that I need, right ahead of me. This was interesting. So one of the outputs that it came from when I asked about how Next.js worked is it said that it automatically handled the rendering of this page. Now, to me, I was immediately thinking like, wait, how does that work? Like, how do you, automatically handle rendering without a server? So I asked, wait, you don't have to set up a server. Surely you need a cloud provider like AWS, because I've never worked on a project where there hasn't been a cloud provider, people using their local hosting, for test environments or whatever it might be, but always production runs on a cloud provider. And then it spits out, when using Next.js, you don't need to set up a separate server purely for the rendering, but you would have to set up a server for the production environment on AWS. So that, again, just like very much clarified things for me. So hopefully that's just a very quick insight into how you can go about using ChatGPT. After you've come out of a call with a load of engineers and you feel dumb as hell, just write down the notes. You can obviously ask them, but if they're busy or whatever, you can literally just type it in here and then maybe sense check it with the engineers after. And then they're probably going to be a bit more respectful of you. If you've gone away and you've been like, right, I didn't understand this, I had a look at it, this is what I thought it meant. is this correct? Is there any nuances that I'm missing? Honestly, this is just going to change the game in terms of learning. I actually checked this with my developer and he said this is all like bang on. So yeah, really interesting use case of ChatGPT. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm going to be bringing you more use cases of how I use it as a product manager, as an entrepreneur, and just generally for my personal side hustles. So if you want to see more of that, subscribe below. And yeah, new videos coming out every week or two. So thanks a lot and enjoy the rest of your day.